give all honor, praise, and glory to my power, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, honors to the elders on London, of the second law of the upper call. Peace, blessings, and protection to the men and women who's currently waiting for the return of our power. And as you can see, the title of this lesson is WW3 rhetoric. Alright, back in the news, in which you see Trump sent two submarines over to not over to Russia, but he positioned them in certain places, and you see that the rhetoric between these people going back and forth is not of peace. All right, the idea of diplomacy is pretty much out the window. All right, and that's because that's the Lord's doing. All right, you see they responded back. They with if such is the case, if those missiles being fired, they would use a Reshnik missile, a new version of ICBM. All right, that can I think it travels at Mach 10 speed and can has some type of other capability to it where it can break up into I don't even want to quote it wrong, but it could break up into I think it could break up into 10 pieces. I could be wrong, but you have that going on. You have the trade wars and tariffs. Over 60 countries pretty much have what do you call that? Tariffs on. All right, so the instability of the world is changing, and Babylon is trying to put that hold, keep that stranglehold amongst these nations. As you can see, the past year they've scaled back on aid to these particular countries, and they pretty much put tariffs on it, so that hold is not there anymore. So you see, really for real, the stability of the world is not in a peaceful. World's not a complete peaceful place. You know, and of course, I had some scriptures written down, but I got a couple other places I'm gonna go before I go there. This is the book of Isaiah 57 and 20. But the wicked are like the troubled sea, when it cannot rest, whose waters cast up miry dirt. All right, there is no peace, saith Yahweh, to the wicked. So there's no peace to the wicked man. And who is the wicked? Esau, Edom, and the rest of these other nations. All right, there's no peace to them. All right, and the Lord is not going to let. All right, the Lord is not going to let these nations continue to rule. All right. And like I said, the idea that these nations have for months have pretty much been trying to establish peace in all these different regions. All right, and it hasn't been working. All right, it hasn't been working. All right, the Lord has stirred up jealousy like a man of war. All right, this is the book of Ecclesiastes 3. And one, to everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. All right, so everything has a time limit. All right, as we always preach. All right, and that is based on the Lord's doing. All right, so I'm gonna slide down to. Let me read this: a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to heal, to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. So these things happen throughout time, all right? But I'm gonna slide down to 8, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war, all right, and a time of peace. And we're not in a time of peace, we're in a time of war, all right? These nations have pretty much up their what you call it, military spending in the past 3 or 4 years, all right, leading up to what the Lord is which is going to prophesy in the valley of Jehoshaphat. All right, he's going to gather all these nations together. All right, he's going to take them down. But we're in the time of that third world coming past. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and 14. The second war is past, and behold, all right, the third world, all right, coming quickly. All right, the third world war is coming quickly. All right, much, with these tariffs, this is just me speaking as a man. These nations, I'm pretty sure they want to get out of that. I'm pretty sure that they would rather be in a situation where they could probably trade freely. Um, Pretty much, I feel like we're going to see even more conflict upon the earth, all right? And the continued hatred of Babylon the Great amongst all these nations, all right? Because of that stronghold. Matter of fact, let's go to the book of, maybe think of this scripture, all right? This is the book of Isaiah 14:4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased. All right, so it's a golden city, but it's oppressor too, not only to the children of Israel, but to many other nations. It says, he who smote the people in wrath and continual stroke, he that ruleth the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. But the point is, he ruled these nations in anger, man. All right, if pretty much he don't get his way, all right, if he can't invade, all right, by war, then they'll use other means, all right, whether it be sending funding proxy wars or causing some political instability, or for the most part, trade wars, all right, tariffs, all right. That is a form of an oppressive rule, man, all right. Having a grip on these nations, all right. So he ruled these nations and continue anger, and these nations are feeling it, all right. So let me go to the book of Jeremiah 51 and 12, all right, concerning all these different nations that are moving their militaries and pieces into play, in which what's his name, the head of NATO said pretty much that shalom to my brother Daniel, I call all y'all by Shem El Shai, peace, blessings, and protection to you and your entire family. The head of, I think his name is Matt Root, the head of NATO, pretty much said that that he told his people to get used to speaking Russian, all right, because pretty much that war in Ukraine, they're saying that about 7,000 people are dying a week, all right, and pretty much the men of Ukraine are being wiped out. They're pretty much saying by November, Russia will pretty much have taken over Ukraine, all right, which they'll be on the borders of Poland in Europe, which Poland is talking about even, I think it's Poland, and I think Germany probably mentioned even getting involved in this war, all right. And what does this mean for you know what I mean? What does this mean? Because this war pretty much was started by Babylon, all right. So let me go here, all right. Let me read this. Let me read Jeremiah 51 and 12. And I want to read something else. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Lord hath devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. Now, what ambushes are? You see, Iran pretty much threatened, just a day ago, threatened Babylon and Europe with that type of rhetoric of attacking the inhabitants or the civilians. All right, mainly, I think the media and political figures, they talked about attacking at will, all right, because they feel like their sovereignty is threatened, all right. And they're pretty much backed by Russia and North Korea, all right. The sentiment amongst them and probably amongst many other nations is probably the same, all right, because it says in verse, slide to verse 7, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken, and the nations have drunken of our wine. Therefore the nations are mad, all right. These nations, whatever plans that they have, all right, they could be pretty much on hold, pretty much through the simple fact that they have tariffs being imposed upon them, man. All right, so it makes it. These nations are not really moving in the fashion that they would like to move. Shalom to my brother Yawanathan Bakar, call all y'all by Shem Rashad. Shalom to the brother Yahweh, call all y'all by Shem Rashad. Peace, blessings, and protection to you brothers and your entire families. All right, and it says the nations are mad. So 60 nations pretty much are in line. I think Brazil has 50% tariffs. All right, and yeah, 60 nations they've put on. All right, so they pretty much waging a trade war on 50% I mean, 60 nations. All right, but this is going back to the idea that Poland is about to enter into this war, and pretty much Babylon has pulled back funding, and I think Europe has pretty much upped their funding 5% for their military. All right, pretty much the strain, all right, is the strain for these nations, especially Babylon and Europe, is going to pretty much increase, because even while all of these things are happening, you still got China still talking about invading Taiwan, and I think all of this is about timing, all right, because they're pretty much going to have to fight wars on multiple fronts, man. And with the with the economy here, I don't know how long that's going to last, but this is the book of Jeremiah 50:12. It says, "Your mother shall sure be confounded, and she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert." Who's the mother? It's Europe. All right, all right, because they came over here and set up colonies, all right, through Europe, and pretty much Babylon's extension of Rome and Europe, and ideologies and philosophies. All right, but it says, "She shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations," which is this is the youngest of all the nations, Babylon the Great. All right, shall be a wilderness and a dry land and a desert. All right, because eventually, if of course, which they anticipated, which that guy, the head of NATO said, learn to speak Russian. All right, they're gonna if they overrun NATO, not Ukraine. All right, they were already talking about attacking pretty much these nations that funded that gave weapons to Ukraine. All right, so you could picture in your mind a situation where Europe can concede, all right, to Russia, all right, for the sole purpose of surviving, and the idea of all these nations coming together and firing arrows, pretty much over here in Babylon, all right, which it says in verse 9, all right, because these wars have constantly been instigated. These situations have been instigated by Babylon the Great, and I'm pretty sure the patience has run thin, all right, with this place being pretty much the so-called top nation of the earth. So let me go here in the book of 2 Peter. I know when I was in the military, you had people, speak to them. They didn't care for this place, but the fear of Babylon was spread throughout the four corners of the earth, especially since they dropped that atomic bomb. All right, so but that you see this place is getting weaker and weaker. All right, but this is the book of 2 Peter chapter 3 and 10. "But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works therein, all right, shall be burned up as a thief in the night." All right, it's going to come a day when nobody's looking for it, which coincides with what I read earlier in the book of Jeremiah 51 and 12. All right, read that again. All right, that day cometh as a thief in the night. Read this again, Jeremiah 51 and 12. "Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Lord hath devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. So the Lord has is devising that. And you see, you know, I think they moved to the, they captured, I mentioned not too long ago, they captured, or they intercepted a plane that was going on its way to, a bomber that was on its way to Alaska. All right, so, you know, the idea of peace in this place is, or diplomacy is, like I said, is out the window. This is the book of Isaiah 42 and 13. The Lord goeth forth as a mighty man. He stirreth up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, war. He shall prevail against his enemies. All right. So the Lord is stirring up jealousy like a man of war. It says, I have long time holding my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman, and I will destroy and devour at once. I will make waste mountains and hills and dry up their herbs, and I will make the rivers islands, and I will dry up the pools. All right. So the Lord is stirring up all types of things, and you see these also these nations scrambling, mainly Babylon scrambling for what you call that rare earth minerals. All right. All right. So the Lord is drying up a lot of things. All right, and cutting off a lot of places in which these minerals and certain things that these nations are looking for. All right, the Lord is drying them up. All right, so let me go to, like I said, I had a few things written down in the book of Isaiah, it's the book of Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold they shall not delight in it. Their bows shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes shall not spare children. All right, the Medes is the modern day Russians, of course. All right, but they have no desire for money. All right, they want their competitors pretty much out of the way because of the constant trouble that Babylon has been causing in the earth. Like I said, funding proxy wars, and you know, you see different things. That pipeline being destroyed, all of these different things that that these nations do to obtain resources. All right, you know, they for the most part, that sentiment has been felt even since the 80s. All right, since the Cold War, or probably even going further back than that. But this is verse 19. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees excellent, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it dwell from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. All right, you know how the Lord overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. He overthrew it, all right, with fire from heaven. All right, but this time, this fire is going to be what you call thermonuclear. All right. So, hey, each time, and you can't, these nations don't have that trust. All right. Whatever moral fiber that this place, which it never had any, it just displayed on the surface. All right. These nations are not. They're not feeling that, man. All right, they want this place to pretty much go down. All right, but this is the book of Ezekiel 35. All right, and I'm gonna just start at 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of children, shed the blood of the children of Israel by force, and the sword at the time of their calamity, and the time of their iniquity had an end. Verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord thy power, I will prepare thee unto blood. All right, why? And it says, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood. All right, even blood shall pursue thee. All right, and I did a video a long time ago of how Babylon, since its inception, has been in wars for I think how many percent? I think close to 90%. of the time that Babylon has been birthed. It's been in wars. All right. So it has a hated blood, and since thou hast not hated blood, all right, even blood shall pursue thee. All right. All right. This place is pretty much reaping. All right. What it sows. All right. Verse 7. Thus I will make Mount Seir desolate, and cut off from him that passeth out, and him that returneth. All right. So this place is going to be desolate. All right. The Lord is going to it's pretty much going to destroy this place. This is the book of Jeremiah 49:17. Also Edom shall be a desolation, and everyone that go by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at the plagues thereof, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Lord. No man shall abide there, neither shall the Son of Man dwell in it. All right, so and we know that Babylon is all of these places: Nineveh, Rome, Egypt, all right, Edom, all right, Bozrah. All right, we have many names, all right, because it is a people, all right, before it is a place, all right. So let me go to the book of the Root, chapter 4, all right. And this is for our benefit, all right, as it says in, all right, these prophecies are happening. I'm going to read that, which is for our benefit. All right, and the Lord gave his eyes to see these things, all right, which is a beautiful thing. All right, but you have many of our people who trust in this place, or as well as Esau, Edom, and even right now, Esau, Edom, he pretty much don't even trust in this kingdom anymore. Shalom to the brother, New Jerusalem 144 DA, call Lord Yahweh Shem Rashad to you, brother. Peace, blessings, and protection to you and your entire family. But he don't even trust in his own place anymore. And I found it, like I said, I found it funny that they're putting a white-only town within their own kingdom. All right. That to me, that I find it very strange and funny. All right, showing you that this man has no more, even no more trust in his own kingdom. All right, you have 2/3 of our people that want this place to continue on. All right, which is wicked. All right, but they're gonna receive the penalty that the very same penalty that Esau Edom is going to receive, which is death. All right, but this is the book of Jeremiah 17:5 that said, "The Lord cursed be the man that trusteth in man, that maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in the salt land." All right, not inhabit no water. All right, and what is that water? This water is the water of life. All right. In verse 7, "Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, whose hope the Lord is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh. But her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought. Neither shall she eat from silver yielding fruit." So in this time, those that trust in the Lord, all right, they're going to continue to wax stronger and stronger. They're going to be yielding fruit, man. All right. Even in this wilderness, in this drought. All right, because we see that all these things are happening, all these prophecies are happening, what, for our good, all right, for our betterment as a nation of people, all right. So we're not to fear, even though this place is being broken down, all right. As the Lord says, "Come out of my people, be ye not partaker of sins," all right, which is in Revelation chapter 18. But this is the book of Ruth, chapter 4, and I'm gonna start at 24. "Like as now the neighbors of Zion have seen your captivity," all right? All these other nations have seen our captivity, all right? They know that we were enslaved, and they did nothing about it, of course. It wasn't meant for them to do that, nothing about it, because it was meant for Yahweh Shai to get that glory. It says, "So shall they see shortly your salvation from your power, which shall come upon you with great glory and brightness of the everlasting." So they want to see it. They want to see that Esau's kingdom is going to fail, and the Lord is going to put us back on top. Verse 25, "My children, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from Yahweh, for thy enemy hath persecuted thee, but surely thou shalt see his destruction, and shalt tread upon his neck." All right, the Lord is shortening the time. All right, shortly we're going to see that. We've seen all these other prophecies happening. All right, the nation coming together. The MOTB is about to be initiated, and we want to see this place be destroyed, and the Lord set his people back up again, and all these other nations are going to see it. All right. Verse 26, my delicate ones have gone rough ways and were taken away as a flock caught of the enemies. Be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto Yahweh, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. All right, but hey, read that slowly. Be of good comfort, all right, while all of these things is happening, O my children, and cry unto Yahweh. Why would you want to cry unto Yahweh? All right, because your oppressors is not going to save you. All right, I'm going to add on to that. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and 30. When thou art in tribulation, and all these things that come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou return to the Lord thy power, and shalt be obedient to his voice. For the Lord thy power is a merciful power. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he sware unto thee. So the Lord is going to make it, shalom out to my brother Karatas, I'll call out Bashem El Shai, peace, blessings, and protection of you and your entire family. So the Lord is going to make it where as though he's going to, because like we always said since the pandemic, these people going to and fro, and having access to this and that, they're not considering these things. But once everything shuts down, all right, once this thing gets full blown, people start getting conscripted to war. All right, that's when people are going to consider. All right, and you want to probably have more people looking for answers and call upon the name of the Lord. And we're in a time soon where the Lord is pretty much going to call for a famine of the word as well. All right, so we don't have much time left. But this is verse 29, back up to Luke 4 and 29. But for he that brought upon you these plagues again shall bring you everlasting joy again with salvation. Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee. Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall. All right, you see that all these nations are miserable. All these nations that have gotten in bed with Esau, Edom, that drunk of that golden cup, they are mad, as the scriptures say. All right, so it says, miserable are thy cities which thy children serve, and miserable is she that received thy sons. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin, it was glad at thy fall. So shall she be grieved for her own desolation. And you see also too with the storm raging in all of these particular cities. We had here we had flooding and flooding in New York, and you go in the comment sections and you see most of these people have never seen things like this, which the Lord is pretty much breaking down the infrastructure as well to all of these particular cities. So Babylon is falling. All right, they're breaches, man, and the Lord is not upholding this place anymore. All right, because the time of this place is at an end. Let me grab this from the brother Karatazai, Hosea 5:15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face in their affliction, and they will seek me early. That's right. That's right, because at some point, all right, there's not going to be no answers out here. All right, when things shut down, we pretty much see that they falsified this job report for 75,000 for July, which is really low. But you go in a lot of places, even people with college degrees, they're having a hard time finding work. All right, people are talking about filling out like 60, 70 applications and only getting like 3 calls back. And then when they do get calls back, all right, they feel like the interviews and stuff is being delayed and being dragged out. All right, so there's no hope. All right, and Babylon the Great. All right, the only hope that you have is in Yahweh Bashem El Shai. Let me go here to the book of everything is falling pretty much apart. Right. And what you're going to see is time goes on, the love of many, of course, waxing cold, and more vexation of spirit. This is the book of Nahum, chapter 1, and verse 3. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. So the Lord is not going to acquit the wicked. All right? He's going to punish them, all right, according to their works. And the Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. I was looking at a video, ever since they had the tsunami, or supposed to have been a tsunami out there on the west coast. Now they have a tropical storm, which was supposed to turn into a hurricane. All right, so we're in them seasons where we're seeing tornadoes, hurricanes, all this flooding, and whether it be of Yahweh himself or through man. All right, any evil in the city, the Lord is bringing that about. Verse 4, he rebuketh the sea and maketh it dry, and drieth up all the rivers. Bashan languisheth, and Carmel and the flower of Lebanon languisheth. The mountains quake at him, and the hills melt, and the earth is burned at his presence. Yea, the world and all that dwell therein. So you have all these different things going on, and the Lord, like he said, all right, there's no peace to the wicked. All right, there's no rest, all right, to the wicked. So the Lord is going to continue to bombard this place. This is the book of John 16 and 33. These things have I spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. That's right. The Lord, our Lord, is a big bro. Yahweh Shai has overcome the world, and he laid the blueprint down. And it's a beautiful thing to be in this ministry and to be an Israelite, all right? Because we have hope, all right, when the rest of these nations don't have it, all right? And that's something to look forward to, all right, that this captivity will soon be over, all right? The healing is up next. It's the book of Isaiah 19 and 14. The Adonai hath made with a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and he hath caused Egypt to err in every work thereof as a drunken man that staggereth in his vomit. So you see all these things ain't working. Diplomacy ain't working. The economy ain't getting better. The inhabitants of Babylon are waxing worse and worse mentally. There's no, and as I'm about to read in verse 15, neither shall there be any work in Egypt, which the head or tail or branch or rush may do. So you see that day is near, man. All right, Jacob's trouble, and there's no, there's not going to be no work, man. All right. So the Lord has his hand and his eye upon this place. All right, and it's not going to get any better. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 30 and 7. For the Egyptians shall help in vain and to no purpose. Therefore have cried concerning this, that their strength is to sit still. All right, they're not going to proceed. It's not going to proceed any further than the Lord himself has allowed them to proceed. All right. All right, they're not going to go no further. All right, this is the book of Job 14 and 5, saying his days are determined. The number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds, all right, that he cannot pass, all right. So we're pretty much clearly close and at the end of this place, man. And before that happens, before the Lord come back, all right, there's going to be wars all over the earth, all right. All types of wars, all types of different activities and things going on. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become a habitation of devils, and hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. That's why it's so wicked here, all right, because these people, these inhabitants, they don't acknowledge the Lord himself. Verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of fornication. All nations have drunk, all right? And you've seen it paying for it, all right? Starting with these tariffs, and pretty soon they'll probably have little wars within inside their own countries, all right? For lack of goods and things of that nature, all right? It says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with them. All right, and the merchants of the earth have waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of my people, that ye be not partaker of her sins, all right, and that ye receive not of her plagues, all right. For her sins have reached unto heaven, do that by not putting our trust in this place, but putting our trust in the Lord. All right. Assuming the Lord is going to punish the inhabitants here. All right. But pursuant to Psalms 91, he's going to protect his people, those whom he have mercy on. This is the book of Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have, all right, but a short time. That's right, he knows that he have but a short time, all right. And so all of these things are, he knows that he has to speed up. The Lord, pretty much, I did a video of the Lord shortening the time, all right, for the elect's sake, all right. And the Lord knows that we're flesh, man, and that we that we need help, and that we wouldn't, as the scriptures say, if he didn't shorten the time for the elect's sake, no flesh would be saved. I'm going to slide down to verse 8. Therefore shall plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine, and she shall utterly be burned with fire, for strong is the Lord that power who judgeth her. In one day, man, all right? And that coincides with what I read earlier, Jeremiah 51:12, and 2 Peter 3:10, all right? The Lord is going to come as a thief in the night, man. All right, when his place least expected, man. Let me go here. All right. When the least expected. That's why the Lord always talking about watching. All right, watching and praying, and that you be counted worthy to escape all these things. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians 5:1. But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For ye yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as a travail upon a woman with child. All right, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief. We're not in dark. Why we're not in darkness? Because we have this light, this word. All right, shalom to my brothers, a card band. Call all y'all by shooting up, shy, peace, blessings, protection to you and your entire family. We're not in darkness, or we're in light. And as the brother's name has measured the time diligently, that's how we measure the time, through prophecies, through seeing part of these signs come to pass. All right. This is the book of Matthew 24:37. But as the days of Noah, so also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. All right, so they were eating, drinking, and giving into marriage and doing all different types of things, going about their business. All right, and that day came as a thief in the night. All right, in which these people's hearts will melt. All right, the scripture says his heart's failing them for fear of those things that come upon the earth. All right, so we see the Lord has given us a light that shines in a dark place. All right, we have foresight. Matter of fact, let me grab this. Let's be the name of Yahweh Shah. This is the book of Proverbs 29:18, where there's no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, all right, happy is he. All right, the hope that we have. All right, and the Lord is now, like I said, he's shortening the time. He's speeding it up. All right, because he knows that we're flesh. This is Proverbs 13:12. Hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when desire cometh, all right, it is the tree of life. So that hope that we have is not being dragged out. All right, it's not being deferred. All right, all the prophecies that the Lord spoke about pretty much are coming to pass right before our very eyes. All right, and hey, before you know it, this thing will be over with, and we're not like other people. All right, I'm speaking to you, brothers. We want to hasten the day and get out of here and look for salvation. All right? But our expectation that we don't know when the Lord is coming back, but our expectation is not. The Lord is not. We're not going to be another 1,000 or 100 years, as some people preach in this place. Our hope is that the Lord speedily returns and comes back. All right, and He's showing us signs, different signs and different wonders that He's here and that He's making haste. All right. So with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying, exhorting, and comforting. And with that, and if the water for tuning in and aiding me on the precepts. And with that, I would like to give all honor, praise, and glory to my power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem. Yahushua. All right, Shalom, brothers. Yeah. Peace, kings, and we ain't got much longer. Hey, the Lord is about to wrap this thing up. All right, Shalom.